Okay, so let's just do map and drag. Supposing you got a parent session. So you're showing them, oh, look, welcome. Welcome. That's a good word actually for us to talk about the difference between and the fact that we often use the blue cow, even though if there are some linguists in the audience or whatever, or speech pathologists, they'll say, oh well, no, it's definitely the schwa in welcome. It's definitely the schwa. But let's just type welcome to show them that when we type the word and we map it, we're showing the children the pictures of the sounds, so the graphemes. So this represents a picture of this is a picture of a sound. This is going to represent a sound. It's w, e, u, k, So this O here represents the schwa, but actually the children, when we first start out, might need the blue cow, and let me show you why. So I'm just going to reduce the screen so we can see the whole lot. If you're doing this on a phone or an iPad or whatever, I think you can see the whole thing. So we're going to say, let's just reduce it a little tiny bit more. Okay, so we've got w. And you say to the parents, the children are doing the 2-minute monster video, they're playing with this all day. The children learn all of these monster sounds really quickly, a lot more quickly than they will do. But we've got the, okay, so that's straightforward. So now we've got w, e. So monster e just says e. So the e sound in any word, if it's head and the sound picture is the e, a, or whatever the e representation is, that monster stays consistent, doesn't it? So we're introducing this opaque orthography right from the beginning. What I mean by that is that letters, like here's the E, it represents the e in the word welcome, but it might represent a different sound in different words, like in repeat that we did the other day. The R-E, the E represents the I sound. It represents I. So if you had the E in repeat, that monster it would be there. So this just gives a really clear visual for the letters, the graphemes, that are the pictures of the sounds, and the monsters, which represent the sounds that are a consistent, if we were to be wanting to know how to pronounce this word and we didn't know how to, if you speak English as a second language, whatever, you would type the word in, look at the phonetic symbols. Well, we're not teaching phonetic symbols to children, they're 4 and 5, or in the toddler project they're 2 and 3, but these represent the sounds and the children understand that. So we've got w, e, u. In fact, the children understand the sound value, just like a dog says wolf, whatever. They understand that these monsters say a sound. This is the part that's really difficult to understand. So by using something the children understand, which is their speech sounds, it makes learning this part a lot easier, this opaque orthography. So we've got that L represents the U. We've got the C representing what sound? So if this was if the C was in the word like scent, C-E-N-T, it would be mapped with, but in this word it's mapped with this k. So we've got w, e, u, k. Now here this is technically a schwa, so we would put the there, and then of course we'd have the there. So technically, if you were to use the phonetic symbols, it would be phonetic symbols w, e, u, k, welcome. And that can be quite difficult to a lot of people aren't used, especially if you're a skilled reader. If you're a skilled reader, you don't have to think about those sounds anymore because these words are stored in your brain, word bank and whatever. But when we're teaching children, we have to kind of go back. It's like teaching a child to ride a bike or drive a car. Not a child drive a car, obviously. But it often means it's quite a learning curve for us because we have to go back to something that we do. It's like muscle memory or whatever. We don't think about it. So here, this is welcome. But actually, when children are separating out those speech sounds and hear the pitch of the sounds, they'll often go, they're going to overpronounce it. So they're more likely to go w, e, u, k, ah, in which case they'll go, no, I think it should be w, e, u, k, welcome. So at the beginning stages, expect to see the blue cow and the schwa monster, we call it the silly schwa, because Miss Emma sounds so silly when she's saying like that. The silly schwa just sounds funny, makes us sound silly when we're saying it. So we've got welcome. You're quite as likely to see the blue cat at the beginning as the schwa, and that's because we're not bothered about being technically correct, aligned with, like a speech pathologist would need to be or whatever. We're thinking about how children learn and what they understand. So we need them to understand everything, and they understand if they follow the monster sounds to say the word here. That's what we say, welcome. They know that's the word welcome, even though technically that's the schwa. So I would print that off, but that's the same as like this word at the beginning, like supposing it was the cat. When we map it, we're going to map it as the, because that's how the children will duckhand the word to segment the word. They'll go the. Whereas technically it should be the cat, unless of course it's the ant, in which case, and look how nice it is that we can just manipulate the speech sounds here. So the word stays the same, the graphemes stay the same, but look, we're manipulating the sounds. We're saying the ant, the ant, the ant, or the cat, or what have you. So they're thinking about the kind of stuff that you generally wouldn't even think about or introduce at all when children are learning to map phonemes and graphemes, which is traditionally sort of called phonics. So when you're introducing this to the parents, it's great because you can talk about various things, but basically saying to the parents, your child is going to learn these monster sounds. They're going to learn these monster sounds really quickly because there's a 2-minute video where they have the monster moves, the monster music. So it's all music, movement, what they see, what they hear. It all sort of combines to have this lovely learning experience of looking at each monster, knowing the movement, knowing the music, and it makes sense. So even if they're non-verbal, they can use these monsters to create words themselves even before they've started looking at the letters. And they learn them really quickly with the 2-minute monster, and also because they're using the Spelling Piano app. The teachers are doing, all sorts of things, and because of the monsters, the teachers aren't constrained to the graphemes the children are learning that will learn in their phonics, because the children follow the monster sounds, say the word, and then look at the graphemes. So we've got these in the order, actually our explicit order that we do introduce the high frequency graphemes in the speech sound pics approach. So we've got because to start off we introduce SATPIN so that we can start to build lots of words with SATPIN. But so this is the order, this is the same order as the spelling cloud. So when you look at the spelling cloud for you'll see all the pictures, all 14 spelling choices for the sound, etc. It's just nice and organised, and it means that children can learn what they need, when they need, and it especially means they can map any words they are interested in. And it doesn't matter if you aren't sure, because the orthographic mapping tool, the code mapping tool, maps the words for you. If they're in red, let me know and I'll add them in. And you check which monsters by using 2phonetics.com or whatever. Sorry, I'm getting messages coming through. You use 2phonetics.com or alternatives to type in the words and see what are the phonetic symbols. When you use the Spelling Piano app and you click on the monsters, you will see the phonetic symbols shoot up, so you can check that. So first of all, it's going to be a learning curve for you, especially if you've not used the IPA before, especially if you don't know these monsters yet. But just remember, the children, especially, that's why I do it with children under 3, the children under 3 learn these ridiculously quickly because their brains are just oh my goodness me, amazing. And also children's brains under 3 are a lot more attuned to the individual sounds of languages, not just their own. So if they're in a household that speaks multiple languages, whatever else, that's the best best time for them to be learning lots of different languages. But anyway, so much we can do this, that we're playing with words, and we're playing with the words the children are interested in, because we're going speech to print. Brilliant.